So do you guys ever get that annoying squeak when you're backing up? Or when you're pulling into a client's house? Something like that? Well, my SWRNC's got 197,000 miles. About every 6 months we go through this process where we go through, we pull the drums off, we deglaze everything. We'll also do the drums up front, or the pads and the shoes up front. Well, we'll do the shoes in the back, the pads up front. I'll show you that process. Let me take you over here to the wheels. I've already taken them off. Let me show you what we need to do first. Okay, so this wheel's already done. If you look at it, you can kind of see how clean it is. So we've sprayed it with some brake clean, we've sanded it. This is what it should look like when it's done. Let me take you over to the other one and show you what it looks like before we start. Okay, here we are on the driver's side. You can see all that brake dust on there. See how dirty and dingy that is? Also inside this drum, it's hard to tell, but I'll take you over to the light and I'll kind of show you better in picture. But you can see all that brake dust that buildups in there. That's what actually causes the squeaking. And then your shoes kind of create grooves. You can kind of see this groove right here. See that right there? Got a little bit of a groove. Well, it creates the same groove inside the drum, and that's what gives you your squeaking. Let me take it over here to the table and show you how we fix that. Okay, so what I've done is I've just kind of grinded that all down. I'll show you the process in doing that, but you see how there's no more track in there? And what you do to fix that is, so I start with a 40 grit, just sand it by hand. So I'll just kind of come in, I'll just kind of sand it like this. Then I'll take my die grinder with a Rylock wheel, it's kind of a little foam pad, and then I'll go in here and I'll grind all this off. We got a lot of dust on here. First thing you want to do is hit it with some brake clean. Now you don't want to spray it with air, because then it just makes everything airborne. So I like to spray with the brake clean first and just get most of the dust off. And just keep a pan underneath to catch everything. And I'll do the same thing with the drum. Alright, and then I'll grab the air blower. Okay, now I'm going to take my sandpaper and I'm going to just sand the edges off. Now I can feel a little bit of a ridge right here. That's what I'm trying to accomplish by hitting it with the sandpaper. So I'll just sand this by hand. Okay, fast forward from here. Okay, now I want to show you the difference. So I just sanded this edge. You can kind of see there's no lines in there anymore. Take you over to the other side. I haven't sanded yet. Still kind of a real shiny finish. This is what we're trying to get off. So this is really smooth. It's got a really nice rough texture. That's what we're trying to get, that rough, so it'll bead and break into the drum again like it needs to. It's kind of hard to see that picture shot there. But see how that's got a nice shine on it? Just like this side has a shine. That's what we're trying to get off. Alright, so this is what we're after. You can kind of see, I only did the top half. The bottom half, see how it's all shiny? And you can actually feel a huge difference between it's all gritty, really shiny on this end. That's what we're trying to get. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this off, and I'll take you over to the drum and I'll show you what needs to be done to get the drum nice and rough. Alright, so what we've got the original drum that's got kind of it hasn't had any work done on it yet. You can see kind of this shiny part. It's kind of like bluing. That's what was causing your squeak. And so here is the one that we've already done. And you can see how it's got this really nice crosshatch, kind of like when you're breaking in an engine. The piston rings and the cylinder walls have to be kind of crosshatched. That's what you're trying to accomplish. Now the process in doing that is I'm going to take the die grinder first, and then I'm going to dry grind this circle around. Then I'll go over it with the sandpaper. You take over and do that. Okay, so let me show you. You don't want to use this. This is called a sanding disc. This is like a 80 grit sanding disc. This is what's called a RICHPIN'S wheel. Now it's kind of like almost a fiber-ish. You can pick these up at Harbor Freight, Snap-on, Macro Tools, something like that. Now I've just got a smaller one in here just to kind of fit inside there. I'll show you what we need to do. So we're just going to take it and we're just going to cut it out to where we get rid of that blue. You'll see it here in just a sec. Okay, so that's what we're trying to accomplish. See how it's just getting rid of that track, that little bluing? That's what we're trying to get out of there. So hopefully you guys can see that on camera. That's what we're trying to do. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole thing, and that's it. Now our next step's gonna, after we did the die grinder with the RICHPIN'S wheel, I'm gonna take the sandpaper. I think this is, I want to say this is 40 grit. Let me just double check. It's actually 36 grit. And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sand this way, just in linear motion, kind of back and forth. Now it's a very aggressive grit, but it's just perfect for metal. You'll be just fine doing this as long as you go back and forth. You don't want to go this way. You want to go the way the drums ride on the shoes. Okay, so you want to make sure you go in this linear motion. Go all the way around. And don't have to do a lot. You just want to make a little groove. This actually will take you less time than using the die grinder, but you want to do both steps. The die grinder kind of gets it flat, and this kind of gives you a nice track for your shoes to start cutting and breaking in again back to the drum. Okay, now we're going to take it over to the truck. Okay, so this next step is kind of important. What you want to do is you want to adjust the drums. So, being that the drums are kind of wearing a little bit, or the shoes are kind of wearing out, and we just ground down, we want to give ourselves some adjustment. So, the way the Astrovans work is there's this little safety clip. So you can actually come in from behind. There's this little plug. Push that plug out. You can come in from behind and adjust these. But since we have the drums off, let's go ahead and do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it down. Just like this. Okay. And that's going to give us our adjustment. Sorry, don't pull it down. You want to push forward. I thought the S side was reversed. So push forward. Go about maybe 20 or 30 clicks, and what's happening is I'm expanding this out to kind of make it ride more inside the drum. That's a really important part when you're adjusting these brakes. Then you want to take your drum and slide it back on, and it should go on. If it doesn't go on, then you've adjusted it too much. Now it's pretty tight, but it probably needs to be adjusted off just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down, just kind of turn that down just a couple clicks. I got to pull this little tab back to do that, and hit them back and forth so they can adjust. Then we're going to set this back up in place, and what should happen is it should be able to turn, but you should feel resistance. Okay. A general rule of thumb is if it can do one revolution, you're good. Now I've got the drum off on the other side. I've got it in neutral so that I can actually spin it. It's still a little bit tight. So what I'm going to do is pull this back off, and then I'm going to adjust this down just a little bit more. This is kind of a really important part when you're putting new brakes on, you want to make sure that they're properly adjusted. Otherwise, they're not going to work correctly, and your emergency brake isn't going to work like it needs to either. Okay, so that for me is pretty good. It's about a full revolution, and I don't feel any resistance. I mean, I feel some pressure. I feel the shoes rubbing against the drum, but that's what you should feel. Okay, so I would call that good. Now we can go ahead and put the wheels on, and then we'll move up to the front. All right, guys, so that's going to pretty much finish it up this video. I'm going to do another video on the front, just kind of separate the two, the front and the back. Most of the problem that you're having with the brakes squealing is going to be in the back, just because there's nowhere for those brake shoe remnants to get out. The only way you can get them out is to pull the drums off, blow out all the dust. Otherwise, it just keeps building up and building up. Now we'll do the same thing in the front, but I'll make that on a separate video. But now if your brakes are bad and you got bad shoes or bad drums or bad caliper, this isn't going to fix the squeaking problem. The squeaking problem is probably you need to replace all your brake lining. But these brakes are fine. I only replaced them about 1.5 years ago, so they're not too bad. So hopefully you guys liked the video and you learned something from it. Please rate, subscribe, and comment. And stay tuned for next week. I'll show you how to do the front video. Or how to do the video. We'll do a video on the front. So anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.